One hot afternoon in Nairobi, a matatu painted with bright graffiti and loudspeakers roared through the streets, blaring its horn and shaking its windows. The matatu was a moving discotheque of sound and color. Behind the wheel sat Kamo, a man everyone in the neighborhood called the crazy driver. You could always count on him to drive, like the road belonged to him. He weaved in and out of traffic, overtaking on blind corners and through bus stops, all while blaring his horn and playing loud music. Passengers shouted at him to slow down, but he just laughed, his eyes twinkling with mischief. One day, as he sped down the busy Thika road, he noticed a small boy struggling to cross the street at the wrong place. The little boy was too focused on the cars whizzing by to notice the oncoming danger. In a split second, Kamo saw the brake lights of the cars in front turn into a solid wall. They had slammed on their brakes to avoid hitting the boy. For a moment, time seemed to stop. Every honk and shout faded away. There was only the boy, the cars, and the looming danger. It was the first time in Kamo's life that he felt true fear, the kind that made your heart pound and your skin turn cold. His foot slammed on the brake and the steering wheel jerked in his hands. The matatu skidded, swerved, and finally hit the ditch beside the road. The passengers inside the matatu screamed in terror and surprise. Some fell forward, others hit their heads on the windows. But miraculously, the little boy stood frozen, tears in his eyes. He stared at the matatu that had almost hit him, then at the crowd of angry faces that had gathered round him. As the dust settled and the angry shouts of the passengers filled the air, something inside of Kamo snapped. He looked at the crowd, then at the frightened boy, and back at the wrecked matatu. It was a disaster of his own making. Slowly, he got out of the matatu and walked toward the boy. The boy flinched as if expecting a slap or a kick, but Kamo did something that surprised them all. He knelt down and asked the boy, "Are you all right?" The boy hesitated, then nodded silently. Kamo helped him to his feet and walked him back to the safety of the sidewalk. The crowd watched in silence as Kamo talked to the boy, his voice slow and serious. He told the boy how to cross the road safely and the importance of looking both ways before stepping onto the street. The boy listened, his eyes wide with understanding. After making sure the boy was safe, Kamo turned back to the crowd. Their angry shouts had died down to murmurs of confusion and surprise. "I am sorry," he said, his voice echoing their shock. "I should not have been driving so recklessly." The crowd was silent. They had never heard this serious tone from the man who was known for his reckless driving and carefree attitude. They had all witnessed the near accident and understood the danger of his actions. Slowly, people began to disperse, shaking their heads and muttering to themselves. As the last of the crowd disappeared from sight, Kamo returned to the matatu. He knew that his life had changed in that one moment. He had faced his recklessness and realized the potential consequences. He started by repairing the damaged matatu. He fixed the dents and scratches, cleaned the interior, and reupholstered the seats. Then he turned the radio down to a reasonable volume and started driving carefully. People noticed the change and laughed. "The crazy driver has gone soft," they said, shaking their heads in amusement. But many also appreciated the change. More people started riding with him because they felt safer. And so, the man who was once known for his madness on the road became a lesson for everyone. Sometimes it takes one near tragedy to open our eyes.